Hey coaches, so Jonathan Cromwell here with Wardbord, and I want to take a minute to showcase our app, right? And so we've always had an app. I felt like that's always been something that's really, really important to coaches, right? Like our ability to communicate with players is critical, and we're really good at it. There is a problem though, in our profession, in my opinion, and that's basically because I'm about sustainability, coaches. I'm about doing this forever, right? And coaches and the dynamics of coaching families has changed. It's different than it was 30, 40 years ago. And I coached this last season. I was fortunate enough to coach my 10th season. There was a gap before that of where I had gotten out. And I got out when I had three kids in diapers, and it's just a busy time, right? So, um, anyway, sustainability. And so, one of the things, our ability to communicate, and when you think about sustainability in the job and spreading the workload and coming up with creative and different ways to do what we do as coaches, but still staying competitive, right? That's super important. Like I'm here to win. That's really, really important. And so, the problem though is think about this, in order for players to be learning, they have to be in the same room as us coaches. And that's a problem, right? And that comes position meetings and team meetings and so forth, and us harping on players to watch video outside of their time with us. It's just not reasonable, right? They're not good at it. They don't know how to do it, and we want them to get better. They work on it, but like at the end of the day, um, Wardboard might be one of the only tools out there that really helps them to be effective at watching video productively. So what I want to showcase today is we do have a new design on our app. So what you're looking at right now is an app for players to receive feedback and scouting reports and position grade analytics, like how did the team perform. They can also see their stats and all that fun stuff in here. But what I want to showcase right now and keep it to about 5 or 6 minutes, whatever that length is going to be, is the player self-grading. This is the newest feature, right? And so again, you're looking at a player app. You're not looking at coaches don't log into the app. Coaches are going to be working inside a computer and doing their thing inside the computer. So right here is an example of, let me find, I'm just find, I've done a lot of demos and so forth. So I'm a player, all right, and it's week 12, which you can see that right here, week 12. I'm an offensive player. 10 and 11 being green, that means that those have been graded. That this player that I'm showing you, they've evaluated themselves on play 10 or 11. They're looking at their phone. They're using their school issued laptop to watch Huddle or Quick Cut, whatever video platform it is that you're using. And that's a whole nother live video right there. How to effectively watch Huddle. Doing this on your phone is how they watch the stupid highlights. That's how we watch clips on the bus ride home from a game, but it's not super effective, and we all know that, right? There's very few people in this world that get a ton of value from watching their video and so their game on a phone. So right, they're using their phone as a study guide. You're seeing my screen right here, and they're watching the game on their computer, right? And so let's say I'm going to go to play 12. I'm on play 12. I am an offensive lineman. I have a bunch of positions attached to this demo account, so it's gonna show those positions here in a minute. But I'm watching play 12. It's an offensive play. The software knows that because I've done the play data import and the ODK, and I'm gonna grade this play, right? So I'm an offensive lineman, right? Offensive linemen don't usually also have the quarterback position attached to them, but um, hold on. Actually, let me get back over here. I actually deleted those games. Let me get back over here and go back to this and refresh. Okay, this is right. So I had deleted those and added new games. Here we go. I'm on play 10. I'm an offensive lineman. I'm going to evaluate myself, and I'm watching play 10 on my computer. Okay, by week 3, week 4, seniors, week 0, most players understand the expectation, right, of what it means to execute the assignment, what it means to have great effort, and so forth, right? Those are things that players they should learn. They now a sophomore or a new junior to varsity may need 3 or 4 weeks to figure that out, right? To really figure that out. But once they get that and they understand, there's no reason they shouldn't be self-grading. And what it does is it does a lot of things in the learning process. But right here, I'm watching play 10. If I didn't execute my assignment, all I've got to do is push that button. If I watch that play and I see that I had crappy effort, then all I got to do is push that button. And so I've dinged myself, right? Accountability, really super duper important. I've dinged myself on both of those. Now, if I have something to say to coach, I can say, but coach, I thought blah, 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 whatever it is that they say, right? Now, that comment is going to come back to you as a coach on your computer. You'll see that. And so, what this allows you to do, the player self-grading feature, and basically you move on to the next play, right? You can allow your players to do stats if you want them to do that, and that is something that you can correct, right? If they over exaggerate their tackles or yardage or whatever. But grading themselves, I'm gonna do it real quick one more time. Okay, it said didn't execute, and my first step, I'm typing up. My first step got me, coach. Right. And they won't always say something, but they have the ability to say something, which is important, right? In the learning cycle, when you think about creating a dialogue around what it is that we want them to learn, that's really super important. And so your players will work through the game evaluating themselves. And as a coach, you get to see everything on your side. You can respond, you can change what they've done. So if they ding themselves for execution or for effort, you can change that if you disagree. And what you'll find is oftentimes players they're actually harder on themselves than we are sometimes, right? So using this feature is really a beautiful thing, and I'm really excited about the fact that we just added that this off season. And so I'm gonna just real quick, I'm gonna drop three things, the top three benefits that you'll get from having your players self grade. And it's just so effective. It's so quick. It feeds everything into Wardbord, into your account. All of your coaches get to see this, but it creates more ownership and active ownership, so that your players are going to retain more information. And so active ownership, when players are more aware of how they performed, I'm not talking about stats, when they're more aware of their performance, they show up to meetings with questions, right? And because they're thinking about this in a different way, it's really a second level learning, in my opinion, that allows your players to retain more and really just think about what it is more that we need them to learn than less. And so the old school way, traditional way of knowledge dumping on a Saturday morning, or Monday, when you get them in and you get to propose, talk about the next opponent, all that knowledge dumping is, I mean, and we still got to do that, right? Like we're good at that as coaches, but they don't retain much of that. And so it, player self-grading, it creates an active ownership and more retention, right? So they're residually going to learn more every week and have a higher football IQ by the end of the season. Number two, it gives them immediate reflection that builds even more awareness, right? So like them think about this, them having to show their cards first and tell you as a coach how they performed is pretty pretty valuable, right? And so I think oftentimes, and this is just the reality of humans in learning, they show up to their position meetings, they show up on Saturday morning, they show up to, whatever it is where we as coaches are up there doing our thing, and they show up ready to receive versus leaning forward in their seat and talking about how they performed. But coach, I thought you said this, or what about this, or dang, you got me, coach. I'm not saying our players aren't engaged. I'm saying that the immediate reflection, the making them show their cards first, and talk about their performance before you do really allows you to think about this, evaluate their understanding versus evaluating their performance. We're still going to watch video and do what we do as coaches and this and that, but put a little bit of this load on the players, and I promise you, they're going to really appreciate this new technology, and they're just going to learn more, right? In every state championship game, every single game, the team that usually wins is the team that has the sideline that has the higher football IQ. Notice I said sideline. I didn't say the best player that has the highest football IQ. I said the sideline. So everybody's got their studs in the state championship game. I'm talking about the average high school football players. Are they a smarter football player than the other average high school football players on the other sideline? Right? So that's number two is the immediate reflection, more awareness. Sorry, my screen keeps going silent. And then third, the last thing is putting players on their phone is where they live. Actually, how about you give them Wardboard, give them a freaking app that's worth a dang, right? How about that? But they're freaking digital natives. They have never known life without this type of technology. They paper, spreadsheets. Sorry to burst bubbles out there because we're really good at spreadsheets as coaches, but like spreadsheets don't speak to players like a phone does, right? So what I've done with Wardboard is we've processed information, we've taken it in Wardboard, and we spit it out to players in a different way. What you're seeing right here in this feature is just players being able to self-grade, right? And this is a feature that you can turn on and off from week to week. You don't have to allow players to self-grade, right? But you can from the very beginning if you want. I suggest waiting a week or two or three, or doing it in a scrimmage, doing it in practice, and then eventually they can take that over. That doesn't mean that they're evaluating themselves correctly. I completely understand that. But you get to know what they think they know or what they do know, or you get to understand what they don't know, right? And so that's what player self-grading is going to do. So the third thing is just it's mobile first, mobile friendly, 100%. This part of Wardboard, the app, was built for digital natives. Everything that coaches do on the computer was built for coaches, but together it's a beautiful thing. Your staff will love it, your players will love it, everybody will learn more, and it's going to work more fluently for your coaches. So, again, my name's Jonathan Cromwell with Wardboard. Check it out. Go to the website, set up a demo. I just did a demo today with a coach from Iowa, who played for head coach of Alabama. Let's freaking go, right? So, anyways, I appreciate you guys if you watched it this far, and hit me up, set up a demo. Thanks so much. Bye bye.